A hush fell over the grand chamber of the Intergalactic Council, so deep it felt as though the stars themselves had recoiled in awe. 25 crystalline columns of pure solarite glowed softly along the arched ceiling, casting dappled rainbows across the polished obsidian floor. In the center of the hall hovered the sphere of concordance, a living, humming orb that symbolized unity among the Council's myriad member worlds. Today, though, its light flickered unevenly, as if worried by what it sensed. Representatives from 800 civilizations sat around the circular dais, each station inscribed with elegant sigils of home. Here, the slender avians of Aquarian clicked their beaks in anxious rhythm. There, the broad-shouldered Freud's of Varkos exchanged dark, rumbling whispers. Even the crystalline avatars of the Solari beings of pure solids that refracted sound into pure harmony sat unusually silent, their multifaceted forms glinting in the pale light. At the elevated central podium stood Ambassador Relax of Merrick II. His tall, sinewy frame was draped in the traditional mantle of his people, a smooth, scale-patterned cloak that shifted color as he moved. He surveyed the assembly with jade-green eyes, their pupils narrowing. With a deliberate breath, he activated his comlink. The holo map before him bloomed into life, dominated by the star systems of the Orion sector. Esteemed delegates, Relax began, his baritone voice resonating through every crystal and coil of the chamber. We convene under urgent and unprecedented circumstances. He held up a slender talon, and the map zoomed in. A cascade of tiny red symbols blinked into view between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars. At exactly 7:30 for Galactic Standard Time, mere hours ago, our deep space sensors detected a series of warp-capable vessels emerging from an interdimensional rift at Sol Sector Alpha coordinate. Their heading, planet Earth. A collective murmur rippled through the hall. The mere notion that anyone could breach the ether barrier, the sacrosanct shield that safeguarded Council space, was unthinkable. The rift itself was forbidden, its creation outlawed by the Ether Codex since the Treaty of Elias, millennia past. Halt your analyses. President Almeshan's crystalline voice cut through the murmurs like a knife of light. The Council President rose from her seat, a shimmering form of pure iridescent quartz. Though lacking a mouth, her voice projected with flawless clarity. Ambassador Relax. Clarify. Earth is designated an observer world. It is under our direct protection until full admission can be ratified. Any assault upon it is tantamount to war against the Council itself. Relax inclined his scaled head. Indeed, President Almeshan. The vessels number in the hundreds, sleek, jet-black hulls, angular and weaponized. They bear no known insignia. He tapped his talon again. Scanners had grabbed a fleeting energy signature, a peculiar harmonic frequency pulsing through their drives, one never recorded in Council archives. A war fleet with an unknown power source, murmured Deputy Chancellor Varuna Valaxos, his marble white robe trembling. They evade our probes, shield their combands. We have no precedent, no record of a species capable of such clandestine approach. He straightened, voice cracking with urgency. I propose we convene the Strategic Defense Forum at once. Relax nodded and initiated the SDF override. Instantly, the outer rim of the chamber dissolved into a transparent energy field, revealing thousands of Council warships arrayed in geosynchronous orbits around the Sol system. Beneath them, Earth spun peacefully, a jewel of blue and green. Unaware of the steel tempest bearing down upon her, silence grew, heavy as gravity. The audience felt the weight of their shared heritage, millennia of fragile peace pressing down. From across the days, Ambassador Char of the Etherian spires leaned forward, translucent wings quivering. It is more than audacious, she whispered, her tone like a breeze through chimes. It is suicidal. Who or what dares wreck the balance and expect to survive? Before anyone could answer, the sphere of concordance pulsed and projected. A live feed, a fleet of alien silhouettes drifting beyond Jupiter's orbit, their dark shapes outlined by distant starlight. The camera panned in, revealing hull plating etched with tribal-looking patterns like snarling beasts carved in obsidian. Then, in a single, horrifying instant, a flash of violet energy tore through the sensor ray. 2 Council frigates erupted, their reactors collapsing in superheated blossoms of golden light. Debris rained through the void, The chamber erupted in chaos. Counselors leaped to stand. Robes swirling, klaxons blared. Alarms echoed off the walls, carrying the metallic tang of dread. "Deploy the vanguard squadrons," bellowed General Corsail of the Mandarin Legion, voice thick with anger. "I want full strat jamming capabilities. Nothing gets past without our sight." Relax raised his talon, seeking order. As silence slowly returned, he spoke with grim resolve. "Fellow delegates, we face an enemy beyond our current comprehension. They have violated our deepest prohibition, opening a rift within Council space. And now they seek Earth. We must decide. Do we stand as one and repulse them? Or do we negotiate with shadows?" 1,000 voices rose, clamoring. Almeshan brought her hands together in a crystalline clap that echoed like falling ice. "Order. We will not be paralyzed by fear. The Council was founded to protect worlds, this one no less than any other. I hereby convene an emergency session. We will vote on defensive measures and, if necessary, declare this acta casus belli." Relax flicked a switch on his console. The holographic map transformed, highlighting defensive ring points around Earth, proposed fleet deployment vectors, and potential evacuation nodes for Council non-combatants on the planet's surface. Red lines arched from the nearest systems: Zyphron, Althara, Karos Prime toward Sol. From the back of the chamber, a soft, measured voice spoke. It was Delegate Shralik of the Tesseract Directorate, his form a shifting cube of light. "President Almeshan, we must also consider diplomacy, however slim the hope. If these invaders are desperate, they might bargain." He paused, glowing facets rotating. "But at what cost? What threat could drive an entire fleet to such lengths?" The question hung in the charged air. What desperation, what ambition, could lead a species to slice open the fabric of space and attack a world under the Council's aegis? Almeshan's quartz facets glimmered with steely determination. "We will prepare for all possibilities," she declared. "Council ships will form a perimeter around Earth. All non-essential transport from the planet is suspended. Simultaneously, we open a comm channel to these invaders, offer them parley once they halt their assault. But make no mistake, any energy weapon aimed at Earth will be answered with force." As the Grand Chamber's lights dimmed and tactical schematics replaced the chamber walls' idle murals, Ambassador Relax allowed himself a single, solemn thought. If anyone could fathom the motives of the Void, it would be the Council. But if these attackers defied every law written and unwritten, then the coming hours would mark the birth of a new war, one that could reshape the destiny of every world in the cosmos. Beneath the sphere's steady hum, the delegates braced themselves. The galaxy held its breath, and Earth, unknowing and fragile below, spun on toward a fate none had dared imagine. Dawn broke over Earth like a muted trumpet, its soft hues of rose and amber spilling across oceans and continents alike. In New Beijing, spires of crystal glass caught the light, fracturing it into dancing rainbows. In the jungles of the Amazon, ancient canopies stirred as birds broke into song across 20 billion hearts. The new day promised nothing more dangerous than sunrise until alarms shattered that illusion. 1. The call to arms orbiting Earth at 20,000 kilometers above Cairo, the International Defense Grid's flagship IDs Aurora trembled under the turbulence of alerts. Lieutenant Commander Anya Patel, eyes fixed on her holoconsole, watched as dozens of unidentified contacts materialized between Jupiter and Mars. "Sir," she said to Captain Adrien Laforgue, voice steady despite the red strobe light painting his face. "They're locking trajectory vectors on all major population centers: New Beijing, Brasilia, Lagos, Hyderabad. They'll be within striking range in under 4 hours at sublight acceleration." Laforgue's jaw tightened. "Patch me through to the Council liaison vessel Dawnstar." His fingers danced over the neural link. Seconds later, static. Then the crystalline voice of Captain Iselin. "IDs Aurora, we confirm hostile warp vessels emerging from an interdimensional breach. Council frigates are engaging, but resistance is formidable." Anya swallowed. "Understood. Aurora launching Raptors and Skyhawks. We hold the line." 2. Global turmoil on the ground. News of the Council's engagement against the invaders ricocheted through governments. In Geneva, Leaders convened an emergency summit in the subterranean war room beneath the Palais des Nations. Screens lined the walls with live feeds. Council dreadnoughts trading plasma salvos with obsidian hull. Attackers, defenders, fighters chased dark shapes across the void. President Li Wei addressed the assembly with calm urgency. Council support is arriving, but we cannot simply wait. We must mobilize our defenses. General HFY, status, in a corner. General Marcus HFY studied a three-dimensional map of Earth's orbital grid. His gray-streaked hair was cropped close. Decades of service etched deep lines around his gaze. Our orbital defense platforms can't match Council firepower, he said. But Dr. Yorick's quantum field shield prototype might buy us time if we can deploy it planet-wide. A low murmur filled the room. Dr. Helena Yorick, pale and intense, rose. Her lab coat was streaked with coolant and circuit dust. The prototype generator needs to be integrated into the existing global defense array. We have 6 relay stations distributed across Asia, Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Oceania. If we can online them simultaneously, we can form a continuous planetary barrier. Timeline, asked Li Wei. 8 hours at best, Yorick replied. We'll need Council engineers to accelerate the calibration, and military escort to defend the terrestrial sites. 3 race against time back on the ID's Aurora. Anya coordinated with Council liaison teams via subspace comm. Raptors and Skyhawks leapt from launch bays in squadrons of 12, their plasma thrusters carving halos in the void. HFY's words echoed in her mind. Hold the line. As her Raptors closed on the enemy vanguard, she saw their angular hulls gleaming black against starlight. Plasma cannons on their wingtips flared, and several of her wingmen vanished in purple fire. Anya flared her shields and returned fire. Each volley of her beam lasers struck harmlessly against the alien's exotic deflector. Fields, shields, weakening, warned her tactical AI. She banked sharply, diving behind a strut of disused mining infrastructure from decades-old asteroid platforms. A few Council frigates wove through the carnage, laying down suppressive volleys that gave her Raptors cover to retreat. On Earth, across those 6 relay stations, civilian and military engineers raced to connect Yorick's chirped-out quantum coils to antiquated power grids. In Rio de Janeiro, the coastal relay hummed to life with a thunderous pulse that rippled through the jungle. In Moscow, bursts of arc light signaled another station brought online. By midday, 4 of 6 were active but to remote outposts. 1 in the Siberian tundra and 1 in the Australian outback remained under threat from orbital bombardment. 4. Humanity's resolve as the alien fleet descended toward Earth's atmospheric boundary. Anti-space batteries opened firemass drivers hurling slugs of depleted uranium and railgun shells into the darkness. Space agencies diverted meteor tracking telescopes to lock on the attackers' ships. Civilian astronomers across the globe clustered at observatories, broadcasting live. In a moment of united humanity, crowds gathered under the twilight sky, awestruck by the silhouette of Council and human vessels forming a defensive ring. In Mumbai's bustling streets, children pointed upward, parents held their breath. Messages of solidarity flooded social media. We stand with our defenders. Light will never bend to darkness. Pilgrims in Mecca added prayers for cosmic peace. In Nairobi, digital billboards displayed Earth's planetside defenses alongside Council warships. A holographic tapestry of alliance. 5. The shield goes live eat last our 8. The 6 relay stations pulsed in unison. A dome of shimmering energy, visible only from low Earth orbit, enveloped the planet. Ground tremors reverberated as the shield took full effect, scattering incoming plasma bolts like storms against a mountainside. Council dreadnoughts cheered with energy pulses, their beams cutting through enemy formations to carve lethal openings. In the command deck of the ID's Aurora, Anya exhaled. Planetary shield at full capacity. Attacker firepower reduced by 80%. LaForgue fist bumped her shoulder. You did it. Earth holds, yet on every screen. The alien vessels adjusted. New Rift-borne weapons glowed at prow and wingtip, striking at the shield's resonant frequencies. Dozens of Council frigates answered with concentrated volleys until a jagged flash signaled Another sacrificial casualty. Council engineers shouted warnings. One more hit like that, and the shield would destabilize. 6. A glimmer of hope amid the tension. A single transmission flickered through a secure channel. It bore no council seal, no human designation. Instead, it carried an odd frequency, a harmonic resonance identical to the signature detected. On the invading fleet's drives, Lieutenant Commander Patel studied the waveforms on her console. "That's it," she exclaimed. "It's the same modulation we heard when they emerged from the rift. Someone knows how to speak their language, maybe even control their reactors." General HFY's image appeared via HoloLink. Eyebrows raised. "You think we can broadcast that frequency back at them? Turn their own drives into, I don't know, disruptors? It's untested," she warned. "But if we can amplify the signal through the shield network, we might overload their field harmonics, short them out." Li Wei projected beside. HFY nodded gravely. "Do it. Prepare to broadcast on my command." As Earth's Defenders Council and humans stood poised between triumph and ruin, hope glimmered brighter than the quantum shield itself. With ingenuity and unity, humankind had forged a weapon from desperation. Now, all that remained was to press the signal home and pray that the invaders' own language would become either undoing. Above, Jupiter's crimson storms swirled. Below, Earth's cities glowed with peaceful light, and between them, a horizon of steel and plasma waited to decide the fate of a fragile world and the courage of those who dared to stand for it. The moment to act arrived like a held breath. Across Council and human command decks, engineers keyed in calibration sequences. In Geneva's subterranean war room, President Li Wei stood beside General HFY and Dr. Urich, watching an array of translucent globes pulse with the harmonic resonance. On the ID's Aurora, Lieutenant Commander Anya Patel sealed her helmet's visor, heart pounding in time, with the quivering frequencies coursing through her console. 1. Tuning the harmonic lance frequencies locked, reported Chief Engineer Selen. Of the Council's Dawnstar, voice crisp in the joint comlink, amplifiers at 78%, ready to send. Dr. Urich's gaunt figure flickered in holoprojection beside them. "The shield network can act as a giant resonant cavity. When we reroute the drive modulation through the planetary grid, it'll generate a counterwave strong enough to destabilize their deflector harmonics." General HFY nodded. "Do it." Selen's fingers danced over holo buttons. A low hum rose, gentle at first, then building into a deep, melodic vibration that filled calm channels and command terminals alike. The harmonic lance launched, a pure, resonant tone derived from the nitron warp signature. Now back at them. 2. The first crack seconds passed. Then, in orbit above the Pacific, Captain Iselin's voice crackled through. "They're reacting. Hull reflections increasing, shields oscillating. We're seeing fluctuations in their drive fields." Down on Earth, observatories recorded the repulsed energy. Satellites detected ripples in the plasma exhaust of enemy vessels as their finely tuned warp coils began to sing outside their design envelope. A dozen starships faltered, drifting off course in sudden power surges. Enya's Raptors dove through the gap. Plasma cannons on the ID's Aurora and human railguns on the orbital girders opened fire, targeting the crippled vessels. Bright arcs of blue-white energy lanced out, carving gashes in the nitron armor. Several attackers spun uncontrollably before drifting away, their interdimensional drives inert. In the council chamber, the sphere of concordance glowed steadily for the first time since the crisis began. Delegates gasped, rose to their feet, voices rising in astonished cheers. They falter," cried Ambassador Relax, scales quivering with relief. 3. Boarding the Obsidian cruiser amid the jubilation, a secondary objective remained: learn why the Nitron had attacked. A joint boarding party assembled aboard the Dawnstar's assault shuttle. Lieutenant Commander Patel led the team, side by side with Council Captain Yalara, an effulgent being of woven light. Their target, a crippled flagship, its hull pocked with scorched plates and its rift generator offline. It drifted like a wounded leviathan against Jupiter's crimson moon, suiting up in low gravity. Patel's heart pounded with mixture of fear and exhilaration. Council boarding drones attached mag clamps to the hull, A hatch yawned open. Inside, corridors of black crystalline metal stretched, lit by veins of violet energy. The air stank of ionized ozone and something biological. "Stay sharp," whispered Captain Yalara, her radiant form dimming to a whisper of light. They might have survivors, for the living archive deep within the cruiser's core. The boarding party found their prize, the coral matrix, a vast, bioneural data nexus. It pulsed like a living organism, tendrils of energy winding among translucent conduits. Dr. Urich, brought along for analysis, knelt before it. "Incredible," she breathed. "It's encoding genetic templates, planetary ecosystem data. It's a living repository of life destined for harvest." "Harvest," Patel echoed. "They plan to collect life on Earth." Before Urich could reply, the Matrix's network shimmered. A projection formed above its crystalline crown. An ethereal figure, tall and slender, draped in void black robes. Its face was a smooth expanse of shifting starlight. The Nitran envoy spoke not in words, but in a resonant chord that reverberated through spines and sapses alike. Yalara's eyes widened as she synchronized her translator implant. "They call themselves the Wythelm Harvesters of Biocosmic Matrices. They see planets as living tapestries, to be woven into their collective consciousness." The projection continued, a tapestry-like vision of worlds stripped bare, forests transformed into coral-like data structures, reefs plucked into crystalline archives, entire ecosystems digitized in spectral webbing. "Your world sings with a rare harmonic complexity," the Wythelm intoned. "Such a song must be preserved." Patel's grip tightened on her phaser. "You enslave life itself," she accused. "We defend the right of every species to exist unmolested." The projection's eyes glimmered. "Existence is impermanent. We ensure that life's patterns transcend decay. We do not conquer, you misunderstand. We preserve." 5. A question of ethics. Back on the Dawnstar, the boarding party relayed the encounter. Council President Almeshan's voice, calm and crystalline, filled every channel. "They believe their harvest a noble act, yet their harvest consumes worlds. That is genocide." Ambassador Relax's scales simmered in righteous fury. "They violate the Ether Codex and the sanctity of life. I propose we enact Article 7, deny them any quarter, and dismantle their fleet." But Delegate Shralik of the Tesseract Directorate hesitated. His faceted form shimmered with doubt. "Is there any path to reason? They see themselves as stewards, not conquerors. Could we negotiate terms, restrict them to uninhabited worlds?" Yalara's radiant form intervened. "I sense their sorrow at the loss of species they believe. Extinction worse than subjugation. A symbiosis, in their view." President Almeshan weighed the words. "We must protect living worlds. But if we can offer them cooperation with uninhabited conservation zones, perhaps we spare life, while curbing their harvest." 6. The Council's verdict. Grand Chamber reconvened in holographic session. The sphere of concordance glowed brightest. At Almeshan's signal, representatives from every corner of the Alliance whispered among themselves. On the holomap, crippled Wythelm vessels drifted inert, their dark hulls scarred by Council and human fire. Ambassador Relax rose. "We have demonstrated our capacity to defend life's right to persist. We have saved Earth but must also avert future genocidal harvests." He proposed a trifold resolution: dismantle the Wythelm war fleet, secure peace terms confining them to uninhabited systems, and establish a Council Wythelm Commission to oversee ethical biocosmic preservation. A hush fell, then fractured in cascading assent. Even the Tesseract delegate nodded. "Let life's song continue, in harmony rather than discord," he intoned. 7. A new alliancy. As the vote passed, fleets of repair drones swarmed the drifting invader ships. Council envoys boarded to oversee disarmament. On Earth, the harmonic shield softened into a protective lattice, its energy repurposed to power reconstruction efforts. Cities shattered by stray blasts hummed back to life under the glow of grateful dawn. In the subdued silence aboard the Dawnstar, Patel watched the horizon beyond Jupiter, where the last Wythelm ships drifted toward secure orbit. Captain Yalara placed a hand of light on her shoulder. "You helped write a new chapter in Council history, not by conquest, but by compassion." Anya exhaled. We learned who they are, and they learned who we are. The galaxy is bigger now, and kinder, if we choose it. Above them, the stars held their breath no longer. Below, Earth's blue sphere spun with renewed purpose. And between, a fragile accord took root, one born of conflict, but sustained by understanding. The shadow race had been revealed, their motives laid bare. They would no longer stalk the cosmic shores in silence. Together, Council and humanity had forged a beacon of hope. Life, once threatened with oblivion, would endure. The battered Council and human fleets hung in vigil above the Sol system, a shattered ring of guardians against the void. Beneath them, Earth's quantum shield still glowed thinner now, but steadfast, round Jupiter's scarred orbit, crippled. Wython cruisers drifted under drone swarms, their once proud hulls scored with Council lances. It was the calm before a final reckoning. The last ultimatum in the cavernous briefing hall of the Dawnstar. President Almeshan and President Li Wei stood side by side. Before a constellation of holo-displays, the assembled Council delegates and Earth's leaders watched, hearts heavy with the weight of what must come, despite our accord. Almeshan intoned, her crystalline facets reflecting the holo-light. Some Wython commanders resist disarmament. They believe the harvest, indispensable to the continuum's balance. She touched a control. A live feed flickered on the largest display, a Wython flagship. Its docking bays still bristling with dormant rift generators. Its decks flush with defiant Harper-class weapons. Li Wei's voice, calm but resolute, followed. We offered them sanctuary on uninhabited worlds, conservation zones where they may continue their archive, yet they refuse to stand down or surrender their war capability. If we permit even one rift generator active, every world lies at risk. A hush fell. General HFY stepped forward, cloak swirling. I propose a final ultimatum. Disarm completely within 1 standard hour, or we initiate Operation Luminous Dawn, targeted strikes to purge all Wython weaponry. Aboard every ship, his gaze swept the hall. It is their choice, peace or eradication. 2 words before where a Council envoy, Ambassador Relax of Merrick II, transmitted the ultimatum. Across subspace, the Wython messenger's hologram materialized, eyes like liquid stars, robes drifting as if under cosmic currents. You demand we betray our purpose. The envoy's voice resonated in harmonic chords. We were born from dying worlds. We carry the song of every lost biosphere. Without archives, our souls unravel. Relax answered gently but firmly. We honor the memory of life, but not by sacrificing its future. Your preservation is hollow if it costs. New worlds their sanctuary. Lay down your arms and join us in true conservation. The envoy's form flickered. Then you leave us no choice. With a mournful gesture, the projection extinguished and the Wython fleet's guns powered up once more. 3. Operation Luminous Dawn at 0 hour. Lights across the Council armada snapped crimson. Fleet admirals issued final commands. Captain Iselin, voice taut, ordered the Dawnstar's main batteries to target every Wython rift generator cluster. Those pulsating nodes of lethal power. On Earth's orbital platforms, human railguns swiveled skyward, their magnetic coils charged until the air seemed to hum with potential. On the ID's Aurora, Anya Patel's Raptors banked into firing position, plasma thrusters igniting like furious comets. Hold fire until the mark, she whispered, thumbs poised. The echo came through every calm channel. Luminous Dawn engage. 4. Cascading destruction in a symphony of light and thunder. The Council's macrobeams lanced through the void, striking each generator with laser precision. Railgun slugs from Earth's orbit slammed into hulls, tearing armor and igniting catastrophes within. Wython ships bucked under the onslaught, rift cores overloaded, releasing torrents of anti-crystalline energy that shattered decks from within. Amid the chaos, stray shards of rift energy lanced outward, but the planetary shield absorbed the shock. Below, diplomats and engineers watched tension yield to awe as the invaders' armadas collapsed in cascades of violet flame. On board the Dawnstar, Council engineers hailed success. All primary generator clusters neutralized, secondary nodes falling, fleet integrity compromised. Enya's voice crackled. Wython are signaling surrender, they're powering down weapons. 5. The aftermath of battle. When the last weapon bank fell silent, an eerie stillness descended. Among the debris-strewn orbits, impromptu rescue vessels gathered Wython survivors, wounded archivists and mournful warriors left adrift by their own ambition. On Earth, people emerged from shelters into golden afternoon light, disbelief turning into tears of relief. Streets filled with spontaneous celebrations, fireworks waved at the sky, songs blared from speakers, strangers hugged as one human family. In the council's grand chamber below, the sphere of concordance glowed steadily, its light now unwavering. 6. A council of reconciliation and days. A reconstructed Wython envoy met under the sphere for formal treaties. Their once imperious envoy now stood humbled, starlight dimmed. Council President Almeshan spoke first. You were lost to despair when your worlds died, but now you stand among living worlds, protected not as prey, but as partners. She gestured to Li Wei. Earth offers you refuge. The Council offers guidance, the Biosphere Accord, to ensure harmony between your archives and life itself. Wython delegates bowed, staves clutched in reverence. Their new leader's voice resonated softly. We accept. Teach us to cherish life as more than data. We will tend worlds, not harvest them. 7. Dawn of the Galactic Accord. Weeks later, the first Biosphere Conservatory opened on Europa's frozen crust, jointly staffed by Council biologists, human ecologists, and Wython archivists. Under towering domes, samples of Earth's flora and fauna joined with relics of lost Wython ecosystems, preserved side by side. On Luna, a memorial was unveiled, a crystalline obelisk inscribed with the names of both Council defenders and Wython lost in conflict. At its base, children of 10 species planted saplings in shared soil. Far above, the shattered remnants of the interdimensional rift lay sealed by layers of Council-engineered tachyon inhibitors, an eternal barrier against recurrence. Epilogue. The Song of Life. In the quiet aftermath, Captain Patel strolled the corridors of the ID's Aurora beside Captain Yalara, who now wore Earth-forged commendations. We did not just win a war, Patel mused. We saved a principle, that life's worth lies in living, not in collection. Yalara smiled, a glow brighter than any star, and together, we composed a new movement in the galaxy's grand symphony. Below them, Earth turned, its blue brilliance untouched. Above them, the stars waited, patient and watchful, and between, the chorus of countless worlds. Council, human, and once shadowed Wython rose in unity. The age of the great harvest had ended, and the age of shared stewardship begun. Thus ended the war for Earth's survival, and thus began the covenant that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come.